You're locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
This is Lloyd Anoai, also known as LA Smooth, part of the Samoan Dynasty. And right now you are listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Brothers and sisters, he is back. Legitimately one of my favorite people just to, talk to, just because he's such a good dude, has so much experience, not only in wrestling, but from a general standpoint in life. This guy has a philosophy that is identical to mine. We care about family. We care about treating others the way that we want to be treated. And overall, man, there's nothing malicious about the way that we walk on this earth. And I'll tell you, in a world that's so crazy, where so much happens in a negative way, it is always refreshing when you come across people who legitimately don't mean harm to anyone. That doesn't mean that we're going to back down. If we have to fight, we're going to go all the way. But even in that moment, it's still done with the level of class and dignity and, dare I say, love, because we're all God's children. And it's not about hurting people. It's about helping people. But it's also about making sure that everybody is on the right page, especially when people start going off the path, so to speak. So, without further ado, my great friend, my brother, my Uso, Lloyd Anoai. What's going on, bro?
Hey, brother, how you doing, man? And thank you for those inspirational words you just said, man, because you hit it right on the button, brother. There's a lot going on in this world, as you said, and there's no time and there's no place for more animosity towards people or towards anything in this world right now that what's going on. So just to keep the peace and just to love your family and love one another is what we need to do in this world. And I appreciate you for, saying that, because that needs to be told, not just in a wrestling perspective, but in life in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny too. Every time I get mixed up with you, man, I'm giving you these big entrances, so to speak, these big announcements, because you inspire it. But you're a guy who was able to cheat death. And we talked about that the first time you were on the show. You're somebody who was, you were able to kick out. And, you've been thriving ever since. Nothing's perfect, but you've been thriving ever since. And thank God for your angel, your wife, for the sacrifice she made in order to make sure that her man was still here. So Amen. I truly understand on a deeper level where you're coming from, especially during this next chapter in life. You know what I mean? Ever since you've had your recovery a few years back, you've just been a guy who truly is just trying to help, just trying to, plant as many positive seeds out there, watch them grow, make sure that you're continuously leaving something positive behind, wherever your travels take you. And I love it, man. I respect it. And it's something that I often reference because, especially these younger wrestlers out there, when they ask me, hey, what could I do? What could I do? I say, hey, follow Lloyd Anoai and just watch the way he moves. Watch the way that he looks in pictures, but more importantly, take a look at others in the photos with him. Look at their expressions. Look at how happy and comfortable and present they are when they're next to this man. If you could be anything like that, if you could inspire anything like that, you're going to be all right in the wrestling business and in life. I tell people that, bro.
Man, yeah, that's big words, man, and I really appreciate it, brother. Yeah, that's heart touching because that's just something that the good Lord gave me to respect and how I was raised from my parents. So it's something that I teach my kids, and hopefully they can continue doing that and treating people with respect and loving each other. That's big to me, and that's something that our family is. We love each other, and we're a close, tight, fit family, and we continue being that way no matter what goes through. We could be mad at each other, we can have arguments, but at the end of the day, we all love each other, and we'll continue loving each other.
Damn right. Damn right. Before we jump into the big stuff here, real quick, because a lot of people have asked the question online. They don't know but they don't want to be impolite, so they don't know who to ask necessarily. But you and your family, you refer to people, especially people who you're having positive interactions with, as Us. And we know we have the Usos in the WWE as a tag team, what have you, but it's bigger than just the name of a tag team. This is a real thing within the culture, and it's a word. Us or Uso, it actually means something. So once and for all, Lloyd Anoai, please define what an Us or an Uso is.
All right, Uso and Salmon is brother. That's what it means. It means brother. But Us is a short term because, the younger generation, they make the word up Us, to shorten it up. But it still means the same. The younger generation uses the Us, and, a lot of us still, older generation, we use it too as well now. But Uso, it means brother. That's something that we do, even though if we're cousins or we're nephews or nieces or whatever the case may be. When we say to, like, for example, if I say to my cousin, hey, Uso, he's not just my cousin, he's my brother.
Deep. You're my family. You're someone that I respect and honor. So when I call you Uso, when I call you Us, I am showing you the utmost respect and honor when I do that. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. And that's the same that goes for us as well. If we call you Uso, that means you're a brother. That's just not calling you an Uso for nothing.
Damn right. Damn right. So for everybody out there who was wondering, once again, didn't want to be rude and maybe ask a question that you would feel be inappropriate. It's not inappropriate. There's your answer right there, once and for all. Okay. So one of the things that I found interesting about you, Lloyd, is that you've been doing some traveling, which is nothing new, but I noticed that you have been going back and forth to Qatar, or as some people have corrected me before and said, Qatar. That's how they pronounce it, Qatar.
Yeah.
I found that really interesting. Like, you're going back and forth to Qatar, and I noticed that you were holding court, training the next generation of wrestlers out there in Qatar. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, man. Like, this guy is helping establish and grow a whole territory out there in another country, in a country that's not known for pro wrestling. In fact, I don't even think most wrestling companies have ever toured and put on shows in Qatar. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Are you familiar with any major companies, even WWE? How often do they performed in Qatar?
Well, I mean, years ago, you had companies that went in there when they toured the Middle East, and they went and did shows in Qatar, but it wasn't big, like you said. WWE has been to Qatar. I'm not sure how many times. I probably couldn't count it on my fingers in my hand right now, because I'm pretty sure they've probably been there like maybe 3 times, if that. But they do have the ability to, over there in Qatar, it's like, for example, like Kuwait. Kuwait is more bigger into, I believe, professional wrestling, like Saudi Arabia. So Qatar is actually trying to, get on the map, and they've been on the map, with a company over there, QPW, Qatar Pro Wrestling. So they're trying to make a name for themselves over there into the industry.
Which is cool. You know what I mean? So big up to all of the young folks who have dreams of becoming superstars, becoming pro wrestlers. Big up to all you folks out there, man. I think it's awesome that you want to learn. And I think that you're fortunate that you got a chance to learn from someone of the stature of Lloyd Anoai. You know what I mean? I mean, legitimately, this bloodline thing is not just some WWE gimmick. This is generations of history, and you know, the foundation of what pro wrestling not only has always supposed to be, but what it is. And there's a reason why that family sits on top of the wrestling world today as the dynasty in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? So to learn from somebody like Lloyd, who legitimately is one of the, I guess we could say you're one of the elders now, Lloyd. Is that appropriate to say at this point?
I'm getting up there. I got my older cousins and my brother and everybody in there. But yeah, you can say that. I'm getting up there.
So legitimately, uh, one of the folks that layers and layers of younger generation can go to for guidance. You know what I mean? So the fact that he was over there helping folks out is just tremendous. How many years have you spent going back and forth to Qatar?
Wow. I've been great friends with the owner, Ali Marafi, since 2009, and my dad helped him actually love the business and get into the business because when he was younger, there was a gentleman that was doing wrestling for the Middle East, the older gentleman, and my dad was doing business with him. That's how when my dad had his wrestling company after he left WWF at that time, which is WWE. I don't want to, use the F right now, but he did tours
Get the
over
F out. Come
to.
on, get
Yeah,
the
yeah,
F out.
yeah. Got to get it out. So he was doing Middle East tours over to Bahrain, Kuwait, and all around there. And I guess Ali was young at that time, and he was, wanting to more about the business and all that. And he even told me this himself that my dad was inspiration for him to get into the business, and that's something that we love to do. If we can inspire, like you were just saying, younger talent or whoever to get in the business and help them out, that's what we're all about. There's no selfishness or nothing like that. If you want to be in the business, you're going to be a good example and have your heart dedicated to the business, then let's go for it. And so that's what Ali started, getting more into the business. And since 2009, I've known Ali, and we've been doing business since then. And he is somebody that I have called my Uso because he's always been great to me from the time I met him, and that's how long I've been going back and forth to Qatar.
It's awesome. That's awesome, and very interesting history there. Um, in fact, in addition to being somebody who has helped build up, what's becoming a little territory over in Qatar, you actually were their world champion, right?
You said was, yeah, I'll say that, but I can still say still.
Because no one's ever beaten you, and I apologize for that. Let me retract what I said. You are the undisputed world champion because you've never lost a belt.
No, exactly.
Got it. So we're talking to the champion of Qatar, and considering the fact that there's not really much of a wrestling scene out there, legitimately the champion of Qatar, no one else can lay claim to that beyond because no one's ever beaten this guy. So you've helped create that territory. You're the face of the territory as the world champion, and everything is everything, man. These years and years of a positive business relationship, not perfect, just like life, not perfect. There've been some challenges here and there, but for the most part, a positive relationship. And then suddenly, over the past few months here, there was a turn, and things are not so positive now. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to shut my mouth and let you tell the story, brother. What happened between you and the owner of Qatar Pro Wrestling, Ali. And how did we go from a harmonious, over decades long relationship to now? I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Well, um, they I won the title right, I believe in 2019 or 2020, right before COVID. And after that, there were no traveling, there was no shows going on because of COVID. And so Ali usually does a show every year, every 2 years, I believe. Uh, or he does other, countries like we did, Sudan. We went over there for QPW. But besides that, I've held this title all this time. So I've really never had a chance to challenge anybody or actually defend it for the company. And, everywhere I go, I do WrestleCons, I do, uh, signings and everywhere all over the United States. When I do them, I always carry that QPW, title with me to represent the company, because I'm loyal. They've been, I'm loyal to them. And so when I go, I carry the belt with me, just to let people know about Qatar Pro Wrestling and what it is. And, because people ask, what does QPW stand for? So I explain to them and I just let them know that there is a company in the Middle East called Qatar Pro Wrestling. And I'm the champion for them. So I represent it very well, I think. But recently, there was another show, which was SummerSlam, Super Slam 3, which went on, I think it was about maybe 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, and of course, I was supposed to be on that event challenging, defending my title against Mustafa Ali. But, I had the flu maybe 2.5 weeks before, to go over to do Super Slam 3. And I was feeling a little bit better, but, I always got to check in with my doctors before I travel, especially going overseas that far, because of, my kidney transplant, which is going great, by the way. I mean, I've been doing great. I get a thumbs up for everything. I mean, I'm just blessed with that, but I always got to check in with the doctors. And, so before I go to the doctors and get checked out. But just so happened, when I went to the doctors this time, they checked me and they wanted to make sure that my lungs were clear, because of the flu. And just so happened that when they took a x-ray of my lungs, I had a little bit of fluid still in my lung from, being sick from the flu and all that. So therefore, my doctor was not a little, but he was concerned. He says, I'm not going to tell you not to go, but I advise you not to go because, remember, you're what, 30, 40,000, feet in the air, the altitude, and 18 hours on a flight. He says, you could get edema in your lung if that fluid builds up from being, the altitude of the airplane, and it could make you, you're breathing a little bit difficult, and it can be, become things worse. So, I fought my doctor. I ain't gonna lie to you. We went back and forth, and I was telling him, what is the odds and all that, and he was just straight out with me, because I have a great team of doctors, and they were like, everything else is good with you, just that little bit of fluid in your lung, we don't want to take a chance with that. I don't want you to go over there and end up getting sick and not be able to come back home. So, I thought about it and I took my doctor's advice and I let them know that, Ali and the Qatar Pro Wrestling that I could not fly that evening, so, we went back and forth and I apologized for not being able to, go there. And, of course, when I was in the hospital, I mean, well, the doctors, they actually sent me to the hospital just to get a little bit of, they gave me some water pills, the demon, for just to get some of the fluid out of my system, that way it wasn't, in my as long as much and in my body, because, I was retaining a little bit of water from that. So I let Ali know about it, and he was a little upset, and he asked me if I can either just come there just to do the award ceremony, which didn't make sense when he said that, because if I was going over there, why would I not defend the title. So he said for the award ceremony, because he gave myself and I think 4 other people that have been with the company all these years an award for, dedication and, just being with the company for over 13 years. So I thought that was great. And I was looking forward to that as well. But like I said, things happen and there's nothing I can do about it. It's not, it's not in my control. I can go over there and either get sick or something happened to me on a plane or just stay home and be alive and be able to talk to you like I am now. But make a long story short, things happen like that. And I even sent Ali over the x-ray of my lung and all that. And don't know if he can read it, but I was just, being up and up with him. And then I didn't hear from him for a while, and then finally he got back to me. He goes, no, so, stay home. I had my doctor check it, and he says, yeah, it's not good for you to fly, which that kind of like touched me in the wrong way a little bit, because why would he go and have his doctor check it and didn't take my word for it? You know what I mean, brother? So
Yeah, that's very, very strange. Very strange.
yeah. So, that touched me a little way, but that was besides the point. Hey, I was just upset that I couldn't make it there. And, I knew I was going over there to defend it against Mustafa Ali. But I did talk to Ali a little bit before that and, explaining to him, say, hey, what are your plans? What do you want me to do? What are we doing for the match? He would never really tell me what we were doing. And as his champion, I thought we would talk about this and let me know what plans or what he wants to do. And I told him, I said, and business-wise, I said, I have not defended that title not once since I've won it, because there were no shows going on and, COVID and everything. I said, business-wise, I said, if I go over there and I defend this title against Mustafa Ali, and just to let everybody know, he signed with TNA. He just signed with TNA. So I said, would it be optional or would it be right to put the strap on him, or should I do something with him where we can do an angle where we come back and then, possibly if he wants me to drop the title to him, I'll drop the title to him. That's no problem. And I still don't have a problem dropping the title to him this time, but I was trying to do business the right way. I'm always trying to think of the future and, what's good for the company, just like any other company I work for. But anyway, he would not tell me. And then, we went back and forth a little bit. And finally, I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'll go over there and do what I got to do. But unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't go over there. But I was home, a little frustrated about it. But then, I know the show was going on because I think there's 7 hours before us. Yeah, ahead of us. Yeah, 7 hours ahead of us. So I was at home and, I was just going through Instagram and all that. And I was looking at parts of the show that were going on and everything looked good. But then I came up to this little clip to where, I don't know, there was somebody in the ring with him and they had a title there. And I'm like, well, what title is this? And I'm like, I got the title right here in the house right here with me. And then all of a sudden, they had all of a sudden Enzo's music came on. So I was trying to go through the clips because we're just little miniature clips. And then finally I got to see a little bigger of a portion of a clip that I guess what was told that the title was on the line, and I guess they were told that I was in the hospital and I was not doing well and I was very sick, and this is what was told to me. And so therefore they had Enzo come out and challenge Mustafa Ali for the belt. And I'm like, that does not make no sense. And then all of a sudden they go over there and of course Mustafa Ali wins, and now they say he's the heavyweight champion. And I'm like, well, how does that happen? If I wasn't there to defend it. And there was no words and no communication from Ali, asking me to do a video stating why I couldn't be there, or, anything. So that rubbed me the wrong way too, because I wanted to send something out to the people stating I couldn't be there, but, hey, still your champion, blah, 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 whatever I had to say. But there was no communication after that. Didn't get back in touch with me. And when I saw that clip, I messaged him. I said, hey, what was that all about? I said, that's not good business, because first of all, like I said, I don't mind. I don't care. It's, dropping the title to him, but I was just trying to do business the right way. And the way they did it, where they just went over there and had a match with Enzo, which nothing against Mustafa Ali or nothing against Enzo. Enzo, my boy, I love him to death. I have nothing wrong with Mustafa Ali, but it's the way they did the business. And I was trying to explain that to Ali, but unfortunately, he wasn't worried about that. He just wanted to do what he had to do, and didn't tell me what he wanted to do. Like I said, he kept it like he was kayfabing me the whole way about how he wanted to do this title match and all that. He says, "Don't worry." He goes, the last thing I heard, what he told me was, "Don't worry about when you come over. We don't worry. We have plans. We're going to do good business." That was it. So that was the whole thing in a nutshell. I was a little upset, and I'm still upset about how he did business, how he went over there and basically put a title on Mustafa Ali, which he never wrestled against me. And a lot of the dirt sheets were talking, how Mustafa Ali beat the Great Alofa and all that. And I'm like, I never even wrestled against this cat. I didn't even go over there because I wasn't allowed to fly. But then again, me personally, I have a name. Our family has a name. And to me, that just kind of like squabbled on my, just, I'm going to say it, sorry, but for the language, it just shit on my name. He could have did a little bit more business the right way. And right now, I feel like he just crapped on my name and didn't even care. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do, put the title on him, which is his company. That's fine. But again, if I'm supposed to be loyal to him for 13 years to being with the company, I would think he would do something a lot better and do business the right way. And he did not do that at all.
Yeah, it's a strange situation there. I mean, most companies, and we've seen it in WWE, we've seen it in AEW, seen it in TNA. There's the possibility of an interim champion where, if the world champion can't compete, then you can basically make a temporary champion, and then that person will go up against the world champion to unify both belts. And that's how you do good business. That's traditionally how it's done. If you want to push the issue of making someone a world champion, right? So it is kind of interesting that didn't happen in this case. I found that interesting. Didn't make sense to me as somebody who's been watching wrestling for over 42 years.
Well, it didn't make sense to a lot of people, not just you. And I know you're on top of your game. I know that. And but a lot of other people were wondering what happened because they saw, how it ended up, and they were like, "Well, you weren't there. How did he get the title?" And it's hard to explain, like I said, because I wasn't there, and I'm still right now, I'm still bedazzled about how he did it. And, like I said, it is his company. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm not being a little baby about, or bitching about not being there to wrestle against him. But it's like I said, it was the way the business was done. Like, he could have done anything. He could have said, "Okay, well, we're going to do this," or "Can you go over there and send me a video stating that you can't be here?" Or "Do you mind dropping the title?" or this and that. Nothing was said to me. It was like I was in the dark. Once I said I couldn't make it there, he just said, "Take care of yourself, Uso. Your health comes first." That's the last thing I heard from Ali. And, I just wanted to know where we're going from there. But he showed what he was doing. He did what he had to do. But again, to do the way he did it, it's not good business. It really isn't. And, I didn't expect that from him, because of the relationship we had all these years, and working for him and, being his champion for all these years. I thought it would be a little more different and a little more better. That way, keep my name alive and don't bury me. I felt like it buried my name. Now I don't mean nothing in Qatar Pro Wrestling, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And again, it sure doesn't seem necessary what happened. Now, full disclosure, folks, I did reach out to Ali Al-Marafi, and I asked him what was going on, because he had communicated to me a couple weeks before this event how Lloyd is a very good friend of his. That's his brother. Lloyd was so instrumental in helping to build out Qatar Pro Wrestling. So that was directly from Ali. That's what he told me. And then this happens, and I heard from Lloyd about it. So then I reached out to Ali, and I said, "Hey, man, what's going on here?" Because Lloyd is somebody who always is welcome on Duke Loves Rasslin, and he's going to come on this show and talk about it. So, maybe you should have a conversation with Lloyd and try to, patch things up. Because if not, man, we're going to have to talk about whatever this incident was. And Ali said a bunch of things to me, including whatever he wants to do is up to him. From our side, he is done with us as a pro wrestler, but always a brother for me. And then he goes, 13 people have been working with me over 10 years. And he knew that Bambi Killer, Michael Kovac, Caprice Coleman, Steve Linsky, Richard Parr, Matt Cross, Johnny Storm, and more and more and more. I don't even know why he needed to name drop all those people, but okay. Then he says, when Lloyd came to train my boys, it was paid. Flight ticket, hotel, food, fee. As so many people came to my boys like D-Lo, Jason Anderson, Michael Kovac, and more. Again, with the name drop. By the way, D'Lo Brown and Jason Anderson did it for free. Also, I spoke to him once after the show, and that is it. He said he will do his part. It's fine for us. He can do this podcast with you. Everybody was happy after the show, and it was the best show ever we did. We did what is best for the business and for QPW. For me, QPW is in the first place. Thank you for contacting me. So again, that's the owner, Ali Al-Marafi. And folks, this is not some storyline. This is not some, you know what I mean? Like, no, this is real life here. And the way that a promoter is treating a loyal wrestler and trainer and business developer after over a decade of doing business together, this is how the promoter is carrying on. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'll say this to Ali because I'm sure he's going to hear it. Brother, I'm just trying to get the facts. So the weird posturing towards me doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? I didn't bury your business or say anything like that. And Lloyd is not burying your business. I was just trying to get the facts. Hey, man, and in fact, I was encouraging you, Ali Al-Marafi, to have a conversation with a man that you've had business with for over 10 years and try to come to some kind of resolution. Talk to this person who you say you're supposedly brothers with and what have you. Listen to their concerns, express where you're coming from, but ultimately work toward resolution. That was the whole point of me reaching out to you, brother. And that's exactly what I said to you. So the fact that you came with this puffing out your chest stuff, it's just piss poor business, in my opinion. And I think that it's a reflection on who you are as a person. You're not as much of a brother as you were portraying, in my opinion.
And it's funny you said that, or not funny, but I'm glad you said that because I have no remorse or anything towards Ali. I am upset about what he did and some of the words that he said. But like you said, supposed to be a brother. Why would he not confront me or talk to me? Why would he go over and leave everything? I helped him with matches there. Let's put it this way. Over the years I've been with Qatar Pro Wrestling, I've helped him get names, talent in there. I had him, he wanted to book Booker T. I got Booker T for him, went over there, got Chris Masters, got Carlitos, who else? Few other names out there. I helped him, make deals. Even when there was WrestleCons, he would come over to the United States, and I told him, I said, hey, why don't you get a table? I'll go over there and I'll, represent QPW. And one year he did that. We did that, but then again, he went along and he was gone and he did his business. He got his names for other talent and he started getting talents on his own, which is good. Hey, God bless him, but I did help him a lot in the beginning. And, those are some of the things that kind of hurt me because like you were saying, brother, well, what kind of brother does that? What kind of person that you dedicate on your loyal to them goes and does things the way he did just now? Like, for example, the word you said, he said, I'm done with the company and, but I'm still a brother to him. That right there doesn't make sense. Why would you shit on me and say I'm done with the company of wrestling, but I'm still a brother? Where are you going with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It's very strange. I still hope and pray for a positive resolution. When you have that kind of history with somebody, it's imperative, man, that you do what you can to try to work it out. And there's an irony here because Lloyd, that's exactly what you've been trying to do. Even in this conversation. I mean, you could say a whole lot more, and I respect the fact that you are choosing to be more diplomatic. I guess I'm a lot less diplomatic than you are because I'm just annoyed with the whole situation. It's unnecessary. You know what I
I'm
mean?
trying to, yeah, no, I get it, and I'm trying to hold back a little bit. Like, for example, now I'm reading into what you were saying. I did go over there and I trained the students. I mean, he had D'Lo Brown go over there. He had Jason Anderson go over there, and if they went over there for free, that's up to them. And not once did I ever bitch to Ali about going over there. What I just asked him and say, okay, is there a fee going on? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, we'll take care of you. You come over, it's like vacation. So I went over there and I trained his guys and I gave them a lot of talent. Went over there, talked to them about psychology, went in the ring, did things with them, and they were just pleased with them. They said everybody that went over there, they never sat them down and talked psychology and explained to them how a match should go. And they were thankful. So I try to go over there and do what's best and try to help, not just for the company but to help these kids because they're young, talent that want to come in business, and they should come up in the right way, not just going out there doing something that they don't know and just because they want to be a wrestler. And I told them all, hey, if you're going to be a wrestler, you got to have a heart for it. You got to put 100% into it, not just go out there and just be somebody that wants to go out there because you want to be famous. No, in my book, it doesn't work that way. I was trained the hard way. Hey, you love this business, you got the passion for it, and all my family, everyone, as you can see, everybody that's with WWE, our whole family, our passion is in this business because that's where we were raised. So I try to give that to others, and I think I do a great job at doing that. But at the same time, when I went over there, they also, he has a partner. His name is Bilal, and great guy. Love him to death. I went over there and I even did a commercial for them. It was called Maui Pops. And, I had a good time doing it. And he says, oh, we'll take care of you. We'll do this and that, which I'm not going to bring up money because they did give me something, but it wasn't nothing that was up to par. But, I do it from the heart. And I went over there and did it. They show that, the commercial over there for Maui Pops and as me as a Qatar Pro Wrestling champion and all that. So I did all that while I was over there training students. And for him to say that other people went over there for nothing and then, he paid me, that seemed like a slap in my face. Like, I had to go over there to get paid. No, if somebody goes over to do something that, you got to pay them for the services. Am I right or wrong?
Professional wrestlers. Keyword professional, right? Nobody's working for free here. So the notion that people are going over there for free, I don't know. I would have to talk to the other parties to know for sure if that's true or not, but I find it hard to believe that professionals are doing things for free, because if I keep doing freebies for you, then I can never charge you. What's the value of my work if I'm doing that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that even came up to when we were supposed to go over there for Super Slam 3. I told him, hey, if me and Ali, Mustafa Ali are main event, what are we talking about money wise? And that's another thing he never told me. So that was up in the air too, but that was besides the point. If I was going to go over there and do business, I'm going to go over there and do business. We'll deal with it when we get there. But at the same time, I have a name. Our whole family has a name. We represent this wrestling industry with heart and passion, and our family hasn't made a name for themselves and for nothing. You know what I mean? Going from my dad and my uncle and from everybody. Building our whole family up into what it is now. And I got a name to carry on. Just like I told him. I said, hey, right now our family's hot on TV. I said, I went over there to train the students, and they had a little small show, which I went over there and I did for nothing. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100% I went over there and I went to the small show that he had, and I went out there. And as soon as I went through the curtains, everybody's put the one up. That's not me, that's our family. They know us as what was built and what was done on TV with my cousin Roman and the Usos and all that. So people respect our family. So that has to come into play too, as well. In my book, if I'm wrong, you let me know. I mean, you're being loving wrestling and knowing wrestling, but if I'm wrong, tell me. You know what I mean? They love, they respect our family. Same time, hey, if you're gonna do business the right way, I got a name to represent. I got a family to represent as well. Don't shit on me. Don't knock me down. And do the wrong thing. And that's, like I said again, that's what I felt he did, and a lot of other people think the same way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. It's unfortunate and it doesn't make sense. And Ali Al-Marafi, please reach out to Lloyd. You guys have a conversation. Let's try to find a positive resolution to this, please, because what you're doing here doesn't make sense. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way on God's green earth other people are going to observe this and then feel good about doing business with you. And I'll take this a step further, and this has nothing to do with Lloyd, but Ali is somebody who inserted himself into that whole soft ground wrestling situation, that soft ground wrestling in Uganda. Cody Rhodes had stated that he was going to buy those folks a ring, and Ali got involved somehow and was able to ensure that a ring was delivered to the folks over at Soft Ground Wrestling in Uganda. And, that's all well and good, except for the fact that the guy who runs it, Daniel Bumba, aka Bumbash Daniel, is literally an international crime boss. He and his brother. So this scam, the GoFundMe scam that stretches all over the world, and the things that they're doing, taking the money and doing anything and everything but what they originally said that they were going to do with the money. They're not paying the performers. I'm not going to call those kids wrestlers. They're not trained properly. They don't pay the performers, so they're just pimping these kids out, and other things going on there. And I reached out to Ali and I said to him, hey, brother, this is a scam. And I provided him with some information on that. And Ali acted surprised, said he didn't know. And he asked me, and I'm going to say this on the air, folks, he asked me not to publicly implicate him in that because he is innocent. He didn't know, and he was going to figure it out and try to get things straightened out. And I took him at his word. And the only reason why I took him at his word is because of Lloyd, because of this long-standing business relationship that this guy has with Lloyd. So I said, well, I don't think Lloyd is going to be doing business with scumbag. So I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. It is shocking a couple of weeks later to see how this guy did such poor business with Lloyd and essentially, hurt Lloyd's character as a wrestler over there in Qatar and as a businessman. It is shocking to see that. So now I have to take a step back and reflect and say, well, wait a second. Maybe this guy did know that this was a scam over there in Uganda. And maybe this guy didn't care because he knew he would get some kind of press for allegedly, partnering with other people, including WWE World Champion Cody Rhodes, to give the poor Ugandan kids a wrestling ring. Never mind the fact they have nowhere to store it. Never mind the fact they've never put a ring together before. Never mind the fact that they don't have a single person over there who's medically trained in case somebody gets hurt. Never mind the fact that they're not even properly trained to the point where they could call themselves pro wrestlers. Never mind the fact that the guy running it doesn't even pay these kids, but he's making money on YouTube and getting money off of donations from bleeding heart people out there who just want to do something positive for the poor African Ugandan kids over there. Never mind any of that, right? I'm telling you, Ali Al-Marafi, brother, I'm a character guy. You either are straight or you're not straight. And I'm telling you, the way you're doing business and then the other things you're being mixed up in, it doesn't seem you're too straight, bro.
I wasn't aware of that. With the thing with Cody and all that. That's not cool, especially if this person, whoever that person was being a scam artist and all that, and got everybody mixed up in it. But like you said, do business the right way.
Do business the right way, bro.
That's what we want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, through the grapevine, I heard that some guys right now didn't even still get paid from the Super Slam 3 show. And that's just hearsay. I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. But, I'm sure, I'm hoping that, nobody's never, from me being with QPW and, I've never had a problem with that, money wise. And I'm just hoping that it's hearsay. But if it isn't, I'm hoping he does the right thing and pays these guys as well. I don't know what it is, because what I was told that the government funded everything. So I don't see why they couldn't get paid if that's the case.
It's starting to add up, brother. It's starting to add up.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not here to down, like you said, I'm being a little more flagrant with it, but I'm not here to ruin QPW. I'm not here to put them down. I just truly, more upset and hurt is to how he did business with me. And hopefully that, he will reach out to me, because as of right now, he has not reached out to me. I've actually sent him a message, and I believe it or not, when we talked, did he not, or did he say something about that, I'm sick and I can't wrestle no more? Is that correct?
That's exactly what he said. He said as far as he's concerned, you're done wrestling. You can't. His doctor says that you should never wrestle again, so therefore you're done. You'll never wrestle in QPW again.
It's funny because his doctor don't know anything about me, and I have a team of my doctors, and I'm fit to do what I can. Of course, I got to watch myself, but my career is long from done. I mean, anything I can do in this business, I'm going to continue doing it until I say that myself that, hey, I can't do it, unless my doctor says, hey, don't do this, don't do that. But I got a green light from my doctors, and I have no problem being in this business. I continue being in this business. Hey, to me, I've been there a long time, but I still got some years in me. You know what I mean? I can still go. If it's even not in the ring, it's helping others, it's training guys, or whatever the case will be. I'm always going to be part of this business because it's my life, it's my passion, it's my family's passion, and I always want to give back, and that's what I'll do. Well, like I said, even not in the ring, but if it isn't, then it'll be something to do with wrestling.
Well, come on, Lloyd. Don't you know a doctor who you've never, an alleged doctor who you've never even received a Band-Aid from, suddenly can make a whole assessment about your quality of health and whether or not you should be applying your trade? It's just ridiculous. The whole thing is just ridiculous.
And the thing that hurts, that bothers the most, it hurts, is he had to go to that limit to ask one of his doctors if I can wrestle. You know what I mean? They don't make decisions for me. And for him to go that route is like a slap in my face. Like, he didn't believe I was telling him. I don't have to lie about not going there. I was looking for it. They bought my ticket. I was packed. I was ready. You know what I mean? But for him to go over and say, or go over there and have a doctor look over something and say, oh yeah, well, he's this and that just doubts my word that he believed in me. And that hurts more than anything, because I've been nothing, 13 years that I've been with the company. I've been nothing but faithful, truthful, helped out. Even he said in his own words to you. So I don't know where, he comes about. Me personally, I mean, I think it's something a little bit different. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's just that he wanted to put the belt on, Mustafa Ali, because he's from the Middle East. So I don't know. I never got word on, talking to Ali about this situation and finding out the reason why he wants to do things and what he wanted to do. Like I said, I would have went with him 100% what he wants to do, but I just wanted to do things the right way. And we could have made this story go out longer if we wanted to. You know what I mean? There's so many ways we could have done this. We could have done an angle where he could have went against Enzo and said, okay, the person for this, who ends this, comes back and works against the low for the next Super Slam show for the title. Anything could have been done. In this business, anything could be done. WWE, TNA, they've done it. You know what I mean? They've done things like you said. They'll put somebody for title, for the title and win, and then come back and work against that person. Anything could be done in this business. And, I thought that he would do that. And apparently he didn't. He just didn't worry about what I said or even anything. You know what I mean? Even thinking about my name or anything. He just went straight out and did what he did. And it was a shock to me because I didn't think he was going to do that. You know, I thought he was going to do something else, but apparently he didn't.
Ali Al-Marafi, pay your talent, sir. Pay your talent. If there's any outstanding balances out there, people who went over there and did their part, you need to hold up your end of the bargain. Pay your talent, please, sir. That it's mounting up. Too many things that are mounting up. It doesn't make sense. You know?
Like I said, I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, yeah, you're right. I mean, like I said, I'm not here. I'm gonna keep it to everybody. I'm gonna put straight out there. I'm not here killing them. I just want to let them know what went on because nothing was really told why I wasn't really there or whatever. Have you seen anything on the QPW site stating the reason why I wasn't there? No, it's like a boom. They put a fucking break on it and that was it. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, but that's what they did. And I'm getting a little upset now because as more and more I think about it, it's like he just put a stop on it and you don't hear anything about me in there. He don't even show a picture of me getting the award. He didn't even put me into that. You know, he puts a picture up the guys that made an award. He didn't say that I got he had an award for me. Last thing before all this happened, I know he said that he was going to DHS it to me in the mail. And this is before, we talked about, me getting sick or whatever. He said that, he was going to, give it to me. No, I'm sorry. Afterwards, he said, when I told him I couldn't make it, he goes, don't worry about it. I'll DH your award to you in the mail. But I haven't even received that. I haven't heard anything from him. And you know what? It's all good. He can keep his award. I appreciate the award and letting people know the dedication to the company. But for how you did things, it doesn't make a difference because the dedication and loyalty didn't mean anything to him.
Yeah, it's sad, but boy, the truth sometimes be that way, man. Yeah. Anyway, listen, Lloyd, as always, brother, I appreciate you. And I know that, again, you were being very diplomatic. There's a lot more you could have said. I respect it. Here on this show for the past 9 years, I had no problem calling out promoters who don't do good business. And clearly on multiple fronts, Ali, I don't think you're doing good business, brother. And that's my opinion based on the facts, including what you said directly to me, Ali. So I'll leave it there. Lloyd, for anyone listening who wants to keep up with you and figure out where you're going to be next so they can come support you and all that good stuff there, brother, what's the best way they can keep up with you?
Facebook under Lloyd Anoai. You got Instagram under LA Smooth _ Lloyd Anoai. I'm on X. I'm on it all. You can hit me up. I believe my next show is March. No, I'm sorry, not March. May. I have one in Boca Raton for Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. And I also have a signing coming up in April and hopefully be out in Las Vegas in April.
Booked and busy. I love it. Listen, Lloyd, always, brother, you are a great man. Always appreciate chopping it up with you. Best to your family, especially your lovely wife. And can't wait to see what you got going on next, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. And, man, let's see what happens from here. And hopefully, I'll get a call and see if we can straighten this out, hopefully so. But I appreciate you, brother. And God bless you and your family as well. And I'm sure we're going to chop it up again soon.
Strictly for the culture every day. Stepping style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so defined. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Rasslin.